today is more about how simple some of these tools are to help you in the moment that you can be feeling anxiety and stress.
Right. Hi everybody, this is Mesha. I'm sitting here with my husband Jake. Today we are going to be diving into the science behind some things that we have to show you, devices and tools that will help you feel peace, relaxation, and focus. These tools we have to share with you will help you deal with the day-to-day stress, anxiety, feelings of withdrawal or depression, sleep, brain fog, like the ability to focus, and a lot of mental capacities.
The first thing we're going to share is a very simple device, something that you can put in your pockets that's been working incredibly for us so far. But stay tuned to the end of the video because we're also going to go over some things we found on YouTube and some very helpful apps that can also help you.
Yeah, like a lot of really great science. This is video 4 in our mental health series. If you guys want to watch the other videos, I will link them here, and I'll also put a link in the comments below. The first video in that series is an introduction to our mental health background. The second video is all about the supplements and things that we started taking and saw improvement with quickly and are still taking, especially to help Jake find peace and be able to sleep and just that whole balancing out his mental health again. And the third video is about the nutrition and the changes that we are taking with nutrition to try to help Jake's body eventually be able to balance out his own brain chemistry. So if you're interested in those topics, again, I'll link them here and I'll link them in the comments below.
So in this video, we're talking about bilateral stimulation and some of the tools that you can use to help you. So these products right here are called Bi-Tapp. They're also known as tappers. So they're so small that you can hold them in your hands, you can put them in your pockets, women can wear them under a bra strap, you can put them in your socks. I even have cut out some old socks to put them high on my arms so that they're kind of on my bicep area. So what they do is they offer an alternating bilateral tap. So right, left, right, left. And this is proven to access our natural ability to calm our nervous system down.
Here, let me show you this way. This is a diagram of our brain activity. The middle section is where we operate in health. This is where we feel normalized sensation, are able to utilize calming cues from others, and where we have access to our own intuition and insight. This is the optimal place for our brain's best capacity for function. Above it is a state of hyperarousal. This is a state where we experience heightened sensations, feelings of fight or flight, and experience chaotic thinking, poor judgment, and emotional reactivity. On the other side of the optimal zone is a zone of hypoarousal. This state is more of a state of withdrawal and disconnect, with an absence of sensations, slowed thinking, feeling depressed, and a desire to numb and disconnect. Tappers are designed to use when you start gravitating into one of these hyperzones. Do you see these dotted lines here? When you start gravitating into that zone is when you want to use the tappers to pull you back into this optimal zone of arousal.
Tappers have been proven to help with productivity, performance, concentration, sleep, anxiety, depression, pain, stress, and emotions. All you have to do is turn them on either by pushing the button on the device or by using the app on your phone. This way you can adjust the frequency and intensity and place them on opposite sides of your body. So for me personally, at this point in my mental health journey, I'm sleeping much better. I'll sleep all through the night. I'll feel very well rested. But then when I wake up, it still is common that I'll start having thoughts about the day, even if they're just normal thoughts, things that I shouldn't stress about, but I'll start to feel anxiety. So this might be between, like 5:30 and 6 a.m.
And you were saying especially when you don't get right to something in the morning. If you wake up and kind of lay there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because normally I would want to wake up like around 6:30. If I happen to wake up between 5:30 and 6, it still is that feeling of like, oh, I should still
ripping me off.
I should still sleep a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But when I lay there, if I don't just get up and get right to something, which is really what I should do when I'm well rested, I'll have these thoughts that start to creep in about the day, and they might just be normal things that would be easy to do or accomplish, but I still experience a lot of anxiety just with those thoughts. And so what I do now is I'll turn on the tappers. Sometimes I'll just hold them in my hand while I'm laying out on the couch, or I'll put them in my socks, and there's such a calming effect that they have. And so I've really enjoyed using them in the morning like that. And then I'll commonly wear them throughout the day. I'll rotate. I'll put them in my pockets. I'll put them, under some straps that are on my biceps. If I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt at work, I'll just put them, on kind of my wrist area. I have different things that I use to keep them in place when I do that. And I notice that they help me focus and concentrate quite a bit.
Yeah. And for me, it just really helps me kind of buckle up and get things done. I think that, I'm not going to lie, every time there's certain parts of this job that I just would rather not do. And you know what that feels like. You procrastinate if you would just really rather not do it. So sometimes when I sit down to actually edit my videos, I know that it's such a huge project that I'm like, ugh. And I also feel like when I'm sitting down to my computer, and I'm sure that so many people can associate with this, but it's like you're sitting down to a huge helping of distraction, right? You're just like, the whole world's available to me at my fingertips. So I feel like that wearing them just helps me gain that focus and helps me just kind of buckle up and get the job done. So I also really like the tappers for my boys.
The Bi-Tapps help me with doing my math and all the other work I need to do. The Bi-Tapps help me concentrate.
Do you wish you could take the Bi-Tapps to school?
Yeah.
Will your mom let you?
No.
Maybe there would be a day. We'll see about that. Yeah, I really feel like it helps them focus doing their homework and taking tests, but I especially love it for the times that they are just having a hard time concentrating. I feel like it grounds them and gives them the concentration needed to get their work done. Have your kids ever said to you, like, Mom, I'm having a really hard time focusing? I don't know if I've just trained my kids to do that, because sometimes I'll see them kind of like trying to sit down and they just get distracted, or their thoughts are flighty. And I there's so many things that you can do. Like I used to just take oil and like rub it into their temples or whatever. But the tappers, I just love it. I love them just sliding them into their pockets, and they sit down and are able to focus more on their work. Tappers green. Tappers bring grounding to our distracted world and hope for mental challenges.
One of the things I love about the tappers is how discreet they are. Because so much of our lives, whether you're somebody that's in college, in school, or you're someone that's working, which is a vast majority of us, it's important to be able to have something that you can use discreetly, like the tappers. But in this whole conversation, we're learning about bilateral stimulation, and that there's so many helpful things that would not be appropriate to do in school or in a work setting, because you need to be able to do it privately.
Or with focus, like you need to be able to occupy all of your hearing.
Sure. So I've been really fascinated by what these tappers are doing. So as I've been researching more about the science behind this, I'm realizing that really the topic here is bilateral stimulation. And so there's a lot of forms of bilateral stimulation. In our regular day-to-day lives, the common things are if you're jogging, if you're swimming, if you're riding a bike, walking, there's a natural right and left pattern that happens. And so oftentimes when people will do those activities, it causes them to feel more relaxed, or it reduces anxiety and stress. And so there's a whole neuroscience behind what's going on there when that's happening with your brain. And so now it's getting into, well, what are the additional tools and apps and videos and things that you can use that are helping with bilateral stimulation?
Yeah, I love that phrase, Jake, that when you said bilateral stimulation really helps your brain to help you.
Correct.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, so even if you were to go back in other videos, supplements, nutrition, those are all things that are helping our brain help us. But today is more about how simple some of these tools are to help you in the moment,
right,
that you can be feeling anxiety and stress.
Right. So with the bilateral stimulation, we also have bilateral tones, okay? And that's something that we have found because we also found tappers. And we'll link below some of the videos that you can find on YouTube with the bilateral tones. And you literally just put in some headphones and you listen to boom, 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 or whatever the sound is.
Yeah, there's a variety of
of different sounds. But the thing that's so cool is what happens inside of your brain when you're listening to those tones. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Well, even some of the YouTube videos that we'll link below, I could not believe how incredible it was to watch a 15-minute YouTube video, and because there's the visual and the audio component, together, how much it made a difference. And I made sure that I tried that during a moment of feeling some anxiety during the day, so that was incredible as well. Yeah,
it's so amazing the way that it's like you can hear the sound on this part of your brain, and then you can hear it over here, right? It's like firing. Yeah,
it feels like there's a movement that's going through your head,
and it gets in there, and there's no other thought.
You can't be thinking about what is causing the source of stress or anxiety because of the way that
busy.
It's yeah.
You're busy. And that's why Jake was saying earlier that these are things that we're telling you that you need to do in private, because you can't be focusing on your computer, and trying to get something done, or talking to someone at work, or what if you had to present on a stage and it made you really nervous, whatever. That's why these things that we're telling you about the bilateral stimulation, you can do at, privately, and that require all of your focus and attention, while the tappers are something that trigger and remind your brain of the stimuli that was happening with the bilateral stimulation, and you can have them on opposite sides of your body firing, reminding your brain of that feeling that you had. I don't know how else to say it. That feeling, or the focus of your brain. And so when you're having the tappers on you, you can do your work. You can sleep. You can put your tappers on you and help you sleep. There's so many things that they can be used for, but I think it's important to know that it's going back to I remember that bilateral tones that I was listening to, or it's a reminder of that jog you had that morning, or whatever. I think it's really cool.
So there's some really interesting things that we've recently learned about anxiety and how to get rid of anxiety in the moment. So number one, whatever you're doing, it has to have a soothing effect on your brain. So that the tappers, you can adjust the intensity and the frequency depending on what feels good, in that particular moment.
And then I think the second thing would be, so it's this soothing effect, but then you also have to be giving your brain the stimuli it would prefer to the anxiety that you're feeling.
Yeah, whatever the stimuli is that's creating the anxiety, there has to be something that your brain is preferring an alternative to that.
Yes, because you have to be more interested in that than you are in the worry. And Jake said for anxiety, because that's his main go-to for mental health is anxiety, but this could apply if you were talking about you are feeling those depression, or that feeling of withdrawal. You know what I mean? And this is just that stimuli that brings you back into that healthy brain area that we showed you earlier on the diagram. So it's just giving your brain something that it can attach to and prefer over the other stimuli. So something that you have to like.
Yeah. And then the next important thing that needs to happen is whatever the stimuli is, it needs to be going long enough so that there's a relaxation that occurs that overrides the anxiety.
So that it's basically like changing your emotional memory again.
Yeah, there's a whole science behind that.
Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense, because how sometimes you'll say you'll get worked up and then you'll hang on to it for a really long time.
Yes.
And I'll say I get worked up and I can just let it go.
Yeah.
And I think that's that emotional memory that they're referring to in the science, that
Sure, if your brain is not healthy enough or doesn't know how to process things the right way, then you're holding on to something longer than you need to.
Right, and then you're reprogramming your emotional memory. Not on purpose, you know what I mean? But I think it's so interesting to dive into all the ins and outs with that.
One of the things that's been interesting for me is learning about how the brain responds under different types of stress or anxiety.
Yeah, because the brain cannot actually discern whether you're in danger or if you're just feeling a lot of overwhelm. To the brain, that triggers and fires as the same thing. Like, I'm in danger, quick, react, or
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed, quick, react, you know.
And it releases stress hormones. In both of those scenarios, it releases stress hormones.
Right.
Which is important, because if you really are in danger...
Yeah, then you need that to help you deal with the crisis.
Right.
Because you got to be fast thinking. But when you're just overwhelmed, or when you're stressed, and you actually do have time to process the crisis in a different way, or a healthy way. Or
in this video, if you're aware of the tools that can help you in that moment,
can lead you down that path, then the outcome to that crisis that your brain is registering as a crisis is a completely different thing, and you can respond in a healthy pattern and not get stuck in these patterns that we create for ourselves when we're consistently feeling like we're in danger. Because we're not always in danger. The tiger's not always going to come and hunt us down, but our brain still thinks it is, and so we respond too quickly.
Sure, because when we're not responding the right way, if it's anxiety or stress or feeling overwhelmed, and we are reacting a certain way, we create a whole pattern behind that, and so then we're living our life that way, and so now it's affecting how we're feeling, and then that projects into our relationships and our overall well-being, and it's a vicious cycle.
It is a vicious cycle, and I think that these types of things, watching this video right now and doing this type of research like what you've done, Jake, I feel like it helps you retrain your brain. It helps you be ready for that crisis moment, and to say, whoa, this isn't crisis, like, come back down. Let's handle this. Tomorrow this won't even matter. Right. Or maybe in a week it won't matter, a month it won't matter, and kind of retrain your brain into functioning in that healthy zone. So
the next thing that I've really loved using is an app that's called Anxiety Release. And so inside the app, it has all these 10 to 15 minute sections that you can click on, and there's a guy that will just be giving you some voice suggestions, and you're listening to bilateral tones while it's going on. And so I've had moments with this app where I've had the feelings of anxiety and stress, and within 10, 15 minutes, it's completely gone away.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, because he'll guide you through something with what you're feeling, that feeling that you don't want, and he'll have you like bring it up, and then he plays the bilateral tones, and his voice will be like, now how do you feel? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, it really does change, and it really does help.
And your mind, what's in your mind now? What happened to those thoughts that were there before?
Again, that's another thing that you can do in private, just like Jake was talking about, but it does require your full attention. And I love these tools that we've found. I love that they are things that you can access and that you can sort of practice in your own like private time, because
they're simple. They're so simple. Like I'm in awe of what recent weeks has been like to find this next phase of tools and apps and videos, things that can improve how you're feeling in the very moment.
Right. But just to give you an idea, it's something that you do in private so that you can practice how to be when you're not in private. It's a training of your brain. And then the Bi-Tapps, the little tappers, these little guys help you be reminded of those times that you were practicing in private and the things that you gained from those, sessions by yourself. So it's just really amazing, amazing tools.
They all go together, and they can be used at different times depending on what your circumstance is at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so with the tappers, you guys, we're going to link below. We're going to put an affiliate link in the comments below. And just so that you know, an affiliate link isn't something that costs you more to buy. They just give us a commission for being the ones to introduce you to it. So really, you're saying thank you to us by using the link below to buy your tappers, and we would really appreciate that. We would also invite you to like this video below. Hit that thumbs up just below the video, and also make sure that you're subscribed and following, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Make sure that you're Subscribed or following my channel, as I am dedicated to bringing you things that help lift your living, that help you to live happy and be inspired. You guys stay tuned on this mental health journey. We do have more videos coming your way to help you figure out how to balance out your brain chemistry and how to live that happy mental health zone that we were talking to you about. Until those videos, do the very best that you can to take care of yourself, dive into these things, do your own research, and allow it to set you free.
Sure. And I would just like to say that with this video, I mean, the other videos are very important, but considering how simple and easy it is to use some of these tools, this is the video to share with others. If you know someone's dealing with anxiety, stress, or mental health, then direct them to this, because I'm confident that there's tools in this video that are linked below that will make a difference in that person's life.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. See you.